Hi. I am going to talk about something that I have shared a couple times on my podcast, Conversations with a Wounded Healer, and maybe more than a couple times, but something that I haven't necessarily gone into depth with before. And I'm feeling a little out of breath because I'm a little nervous. And this is related to the files that have dropped recently that I'm not going to say the name of because I don't know how they're doing censoring on the social medias these days. But so if you don't want to hear anything about those files, please keep swiping. If you don't want to hear anything about assault, again, trying to avoid any censoring of this, then, please move on. But that's what I'm going to talk about. I think I have a take that's a little different than anything that I've heard yet from other people before. And I just had sort of a realization in therapy that felt really big for me personally, but also feels relevant to share and important. So I am a survivor of childhood abuse. And I knew it for a lot of my life, and I mentioned it in therapy probably back in 2008, 2009 when I was in grad school. And at the time it wasn't taken very seriously, and I sort of moved on. And then I think it was 2018 when I was in a somatic training, I had a very strong body memory and then a mental memory of something that happened to me that was really not okay. And since 2018, so it's 2026 now, so 8 years later, what I think is important to know to connect this back to the files that have been released is the journey for a survivor to trust their own narrative, to trust their body, to believe themselves that something has happened to them, whether they have memories or not. I don't have a ton of memories, but I know something happened. And it's taken me 8 years to be able to sit here today and in my therapy session just a little bit ago to say, I know something happened to me and I didn't deserve it and it wasn't okay. That process was really long and painful and hard. And of course, these files coming out, reading some of the things that the orange one did to children, things that I think probably also happened to me, there's a reaction to that. And I'm imagining a lot of other survivors out there are having a reaction to that. And what occurred to me in therapy today is that my individual process of coming to believe myself of what I knew happened to me took 8 years. And I wonder if what we're sort of going through right now as a country, partly these files, partly all of the other things that are happening, is an invitation for us all to reconcile with the truth of what has been happening for a long time. And what I needed to do personally in order to be able to trust myself and stand in my own authenticity was build capacity to tolerate the truth. Because there was a long time that I couldn't tolerate even believing that something bad had happened to me, because then what does that mean about my childhood and all the other things that I think about myself? And I think that that's a reckoning that our country is going through right now as well, right? What stories have we told ourselves as Americans about what it is that we think we stand for and who we are? And a lot of people are having that challenge right now. And I say this partly, just in noticing this, but also partly for people who are maybe judging people who are just waking up for the first time, that it's a process to get in connection with the truth in a way that you can tolerate it. And everybody is going to go through that journey in a different way. And the other thing that came up in therapy that feels really important to share is that as much justice as survivors, all survivors, whether it's of these files or any of the other things that have happened, the justice that people deserve is one thing. But if we are not building our capacity both individually and collectively to create spaces that won't tolerate this, it is just going to keep happening. And that's not acceptable. And I think that whether you're involved with this, probably no one watching this is involved in these files, but I can guarantee you that you've been in an environment where somebody has been causing harm. And maybe you too have caused harm. I know that I have caused harm. And we cannot, as a society, move and grow beyond the evils that are finally coming to the surface unless we do our inner work, recognize our ability to be perpetrators just as much as victims, and reconcile that harm has been happening all along, and figure out ways to build new systems where that just won't be tolerated. And I don't think we can do that unless we are doing our inner work and we're holding our own selves accountable to being a person who can't let harm happen on their watch. And I know I love to think of myself as a person who can't let harm happen on my watch. But when I'm really honest with myself, I know I've caused a lot of harm. And that helps me have capacity to tolerate holding more. So, I'm usually speaking just to therapists because I am a therapist and those are my people and the people that I spend most of my time with. I think therapists, first and foremost, we need to continue to build our own capacity to tolerate what's happened to us so that we can better tolerate what's happened in the world and we can support our clients through that. But I also think every single person on this earth has a responsibility to their own work so that you can build your own capacity to tolerate that what's happened is not okay and that we're just not going to let it happen in the future. And unless we do that, I just see us making the same mistakes over and over again. So thank you for listening. If you have stayed this long, I really appreciate it. And if you've never met me before, my name's Sarah Bueno, and I'm a therapist, and I'm really trying to support the field of therapy in coming to some awarenesses and grappling with some things that I think are long overdue. And I think that these files are part of that process for all of us. So thanks for listening.